Hello, everybody. My name is Sabrina, and I'm here today on Scorpio Oxman's channel. And today we are talking about human design.
Yay,
So,
Sabrina, that was amazing. Thank you very much for introducing us. Yeah, and
yes.
that's as good as it gets for sure. Because again, Scorpio Oxman channel, I want to remind my subscribers and viewers, there's no editing here, no scripts, nothing. We don't. You know what? I could script something for a joke once in a while, like just for a sense of humor, but raw and real is the way we want it to be. So yeah, so that's the way we like it here. And so, how's the weather down there in Hawaii, Sabrina?
It's
Yeah,
wonderful as
yeah,
always. Even when it's rainy, it's wonderful.
yeah. Well, I was gonna say Aloha Land, but I didn't want to sound like I was making fun because that's not a place I'd want to make fun of for sure. I'd want to have a good
Definitely.
reputation from the people
Yeah.
of Hawaii for sure. Yeah. The weather up here in Canada,
Mhm.
it's pretty. I'll probably say sarcastically, it's pretty lovely weather. We had snow today. We had snow this morning, believe it or not. It's May
Wow.
the 9th, and that's how it is now. But it's not wet snow. It's
Hmm.
just wet snow. So when it flies out of the sky and when it hits the ground, it disappears. But it's a very chilly weekend this weekend
Interesting.
for us up here.
Mm.
And we from where I live, we actually have a skunk living on our property right now, and that appears to have made a home on our property.
Oh, God.
So that's happened like within the last week. She kind of settled in, and
Yeah.
Sabrina, do you have skunks any down there in Hawaii that bother you by any chance?
We don't have any
Oh,
skunks on any of the islands.
yeah, I think you're a little fortunate
Yeah.
because I I may be in, but this is no surprise to me. So I may be into something here with this skunk because the month of May, I wanted to mention briefly about the Chinese astrology. That is that the month of May is supposed to be a rather not so smooth of a month for me because
Hmm.
it's actually or May is month of the snake in the
Okay.
Chinese astrology. I'm
Hmm.
born in month of the tiger, February.
Mm.
Now, the snake and the tiger, they're not exactly friendly. So because of that, the month of May is supposed to be kind of awkward for me. So I see that. And so I'm worried that I'm going to get sprayed by the skunk.
Oh no.
Yeah. So if I
Oh
go
no.
out there one of these days, like to get sunshine and that, like I'm a little worried about that right now, but please keep your fingers crossed for me,
Yeah.
everybody out there.
Fingers are
Okay. Yeah.
crossed.
Please,
No
please, please.
skunk spray.
Peppy, I love Peppy Le Pew. I love Peppy Le Pew, or Skunky, I call him. But hopefully, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So yeah, so the topic of human design is brand new to me. So
Okay.
I've heard of it briefly before from some friends of mine, but I wanted to make a pledge too to my
Hmm.
to my viewers and subscribers. I never so up until this meeting now with Sabrina, I never researched anything. I never looked at anything because once in a while it's good to get a take on it from somebody's personal point of view. Because
Hmm.
you mentioned, Sabrina, that you've researched it for about 5 years or so.
Yes, I do want
Yeah,
to throw some
yeah,
disclaimers here, though, if I may now. I'm by no means a professional human design expert at all. It's just something that I've been researching on my own. I discovered it about 5, 6 years ago, and then in the past 2 or 3 years, I've gotten much more in depth with it. And so it's all research that I've done on my own time. So I don't like I said, because within the human design community, there's many certification courses that you can take to have a professional do your reading. What I'll be sharing with everyone today is from my perspective and from my experience. So,
yeah. Mhm.
yeah.
Which is as good as it gets for because once in a while, like you could read stuff, people could read stuff on their own and that. But I think that people could get a really good idea from someone who's really caught up, and it kind of saves them time. It kind of saves them a bit of time to know all the
Sure,
info about it.
sure.
Yeah. So I'll start off with some questions of mine for you, Sabrina.
Okay.
And so, what is human design in a like whether
Yes.
yeah
Excellent.
how
Excellent.
would
That's a great way to
yeah
start. That's a great place to start. Okay.
yeah
Um,
mhm,
so, so one thing about human design is that it is something that you can actually enact. So it's essentially, it's a blueprint of your energy, and it assists you in navigating this world in a way of meeting with less resistance. That's essentially what the idea of it is, as I understand it. And human design uses various sources to calculate a chart for you. So it does use astrology. It uses your Western astrology, and it actually uses 2 dates. It uses, and this is, I mean, I can get specific, but I'll just keep it basic for now. You know, we can maybe get more specific later, but it uses your astrology. It uses the I Ching, the hexagrams. It uses chakras. It uses science. Like, it uses all these different approaches, occult and scientific, to create a unique chart for each person. And within those charts, there are 4 different energy types that you fall under either one of the 4 categories. And there's 9 centers, and I believe there's 64 channels.
Wow.
And yeah, and within that, so it gets and another really beautiful thing that I love about human design, and that I really want to emphasize today for anybody who's curious about it but is maybe a little bit overwhelmed with human design, you can go as deep as you want to. You can go right down to the details and just go right into that direction, or you can go from a very basic perspective and yet still reap the benefits of applying it. If you just go with the basics, which is, so there's a man named Ra, he went by Ra Uru Hu, and he was the founder of human design.
Really?
And he channeled it, or it came to him, how he discovered this. And anyone who's watching this and who's interested, there's a documentary on YouTube called The Voice by Ra Uru Hu, and it gets a little intense, but he tells you exactly how he discovered this. And then it wasn't until, I think, like at least a decade later, where he actually was able to put it into charts and into types specifically for the design. So yeah, should I get a little bit more specific, or do you have more questions? Like, I can get into the different types.
By all means.
Yeah, I can keep going. Okay,
by all means.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. I totally do. Yeah. Okay, so you have 4 main energy types. You have the majority of the population are generators. So about 70% are generators, which means they have their sacral defined. And I think we'll take a look at a couple of charts in a little while, or something, so we can just show the viewers. And then about 8 to 9% are manifestors. So I'm a manifestor. And then we have projectors and reflectors. So the generators are basically the energy. It's what keeps life going. The generators are people who have high energy, consistent energy, and every type has a strategy. And this goes back to what I was saying. If you just want to do the basics of human design and you still want to see applicable results in your life, this is all you need to know, is your strategy and your authority. So each of the types has a strategy. So the strategy for a generator would be to respond to their environment. And then you have manifestors, and their strategy is to inform. And then you have projectors. So that's about 20% of the population, okay, to wait for the invitation. And then reflectors are a very rare 1%.
Really?
And so another thing I want to say about this is, this study is really, or this art, or whatever you want to call human design, is really something that it's like it's trial and error sometimes, and you must put it into practice in order to understand it. Because at first you might hear it, but the whole thing is about deconditioning. The concept is about deconditioning the mind, that it's programmed to behave a certain way, and coming into the body's natural expression. And so the human design chart, it's a blueprint to essentially enable you to relax the mind and to tune into your natural method of operation here in this matrix.
Your very own.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is everything making sense so far?
Yes. Regarding you mentioned matrix, and like the people who aren't too familiar with what the matrix is, or what a matrix is. Okay. It's my understanding that it's an environment. It's basically, it's like an energy field around us. That's an environment of its own influences. if that
Yes.
makes any sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of an energy force around you, or around like let's say a group of friends, for example, like people that know one another, and that's like circle. You could call it like a
Right.
circle, like
Yeah.
whether relating to a circle of friends, and that's kind of I thought that was the idea I had when I read about the description of it, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So
That's an excellent way to look at it.
mhm,
I would refer to matrix as um, just a community, or just an entity that is interconnected. So you can look at it from a small scope or a large scope. But I think, yeah, I think the way you explained it is excellent.
yeah, basically like it's probably one example would be like a company that has they have certain employees, and that, and I think that could be referred to as an example, like a certain company, like whether
Right. 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 Right.
real estate company or what like that, and that's
Mhm.
kind of a matrix
Yeah.
environment kind of
In
thing.
itself.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And then you can even look at it globally, like the matrix that is the human population, that is the ecosystem, that is the earth, that is the solar system. Like it's all a matrix in that it's all interrelated in one way or another,
mhm,
however you look at it. I mean, we can get into like quantum mechanics and that aspect of things, which is completely valid, but yeah, for our purposes. Um, so they say about 4% of people are going to know about human design, and then out of that
really,
4% are actually going to apply it.
really,
That's what Ross said. But I've noticed recently, and especially with you taking an interest to it, and a couple of other people, I'm noticing it's getting much more popular. It's getting much
yeah,
more popular. Like it's coming side and side with astrology, and ultimately I really appreciate having all the different perspectives. And I mentioned that in the last video we did together. Like that's my thing, is like get at it from every perspective. But the one thing about human design is you can enact it. So I encourage everybody who's watching this video, if you are interested, to go to Jovian Archive, just jovianarchive.com, and type in your birth information. You do need your birth time. That's the thing. Just like with
it's a must.
astrology.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, you need your birth
yeah,
time, and yeah, and check it out, and you'll see your chart, um, and then you can even just get into your own research from there. There's like all the basics, like you can get into it. Like I'm more than happy to go into that, but I don't know whose particular chart we're looking at. Like if anyone wants to contact me and wants any help in understanding their information, just let me know. I'm more
absolutely,
than
yeah,
happy to. Yeah.
yeah. And we yeah, perhaps I just had an idea now. In another video,
Hmm.
we could do my chart. If you want to do my
Yeah.
chart,
Yeah.
we could make that a recorded video. Yeah,
Right. Right.
that sounds like an idea. So the kind of another question too, that
Sure.
how would, or kind of related
Sure.
to my first question, was how would you describe human design in a nutshell? Or is that really possible? Because yeah, you explained, if there was a not like, if I if I
Okay.
was to tell, like if
Right.
somebody
Right. In
asked
a
me
nutshell.
what would be the easiest way, if there was one.
Okay.
If
So I almost want to say there isn't. I really
yeah.
almost
Mhm.
do want to say there isn't, because it's so vast. But
Mhm.
I would say human design is a method to deconditioning.
Mhm. Okay.
Human design is a method for deconditioning and living in authenticity.
So, what is to remind the viewers, what does deconditioning mean? And that's
Sure.
actually a yeah.
Sure.
I've heard of it before, but I'm not too familiar.
Sure. So conditioning can be looked at as the programs or the thoughts, beliefs, and values that are basically imprinted on us as a result of society, family, culture, government, all these things. So conditioning is what most of us have grown up thinking and believing about ourselves and about the world and about the way things work, and how we have to be in society. And like, for example, many people are conditioned to be like go-getters and like go out there and do it, and like, and there's the Nike motto, just do it, and just to be
Yeah.
initiators. And that's something that's very valued in American society, is to be that independent initiator outside of the group, to be that one that's recognized. However, when you look at it from a human design perspective, only 8% of people are actually designed to initiate and to bring that energy. Where most people are designed to respond to their environment, meaning the generators is what I'm referring to, are designed to allow things to come to them and to become activated from that and work as a response to that. So that is what deconditioning is. Deconditioning is it's an avenue. The human design is an avenue through that you can take to decondition yourself, to live more authentically to inside of your body. It's developing another relationship with your body and understanding of your true nature that is reliable. It is reliable through in and throughout. Like bottom line, that's what we're looking at when we look at human design. But it can be a little bit of a process to get to that space. So that's why they say it takes 7 years for the deconditioning. From the moment you start practicing human design, it takes that long, because you know how they say like your whole body regenerates every 7 years, new cells, everything. So it's the same thing with human design. Because remember, you're starting to live from a different space. You're starting to make decisions based on your authority, which is never in your mind. Your authority is innate. So Does that answer your question?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
And so you mentioned that only certain people have the it for it, like meaning the ability, meaning the mental ability, and so on.
So with human design, just like an astrology chart, we all have all the signs and all the planets in our chart. So that is also valid with a human design chart. When you look at the chart, you have everything, and we all start there, but it's certain things are defined or filled in, and that is where you have a consistent energy. That's the difference, because you're always being conditioned, which is a word I'm going to be using often in this video. It goes hand in hand with human design. You're always being conditioned by the energy around you. The same way that you could say we're being conditioned by the sun right now in Taurus from a Western perspective, that's the prevalent energy, or the moon passing. So in the same way in human design, you can be conditioned by certain influences. But when it gets down to the basics, only certain people are built with an aura that is meant to initiate. So the manifestors have a denser aura that is meant to actually move things out of the way and to initiate. However, the initiation does not come from the mind. And that's where a lot of people get confused. Really? People look at human design and they think, oh, like manifestors, like everyone wants to be a manifestor because they just get to do whatever they want to do. That's not true. Because the actual, so you have authority, you have your strategy and your authority, and the authority, which is what is motivating you, is never from your mind. You don't just make a decision and do it. It's an impulse, and there's different versions of that. There's emotional, there's sacral, but if you have sacral authority, you're automatically a generator. There's splenic, there's ego, so there's that. I know these are all like foreign terms to people who don't know about human design yet, but I don't know. Let me know if there's
it's a good stepping stone.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's a great stepping stone, and I think, and again, getting an insight from someone like you who has you have maybe the best experience in knowing about it, or one of them. Would you say you're one of the 4%, Sabrina?
Absolutely, I would say so.
It sure sounds like it. It sure sounds like it, and I believe it. Like there's stuff that we Scorpio moon people, there's stuff that we know when we sense of something that we're told, we're going to believe what we're told, given that it's true. Right. And a lot of time we're sensitive if something told to us that isn't true, that we have that feeling. Pisces too. People who have Pisces energy like you have that intuition too of knowing.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. So the next question, that I had, how far back in time does human design go? That how long have humans known about this and have examined it? And did the ancients go by it? The ancient Egyptians, the Aztecs, the Babylonians, and did they follow?
Gotcha. Yeah. So human design, as we know it, was discovered. It was shown to Ra. I believe it was in the 80s. It was in the 80s that this came through to our conscious knowledge. However, human design uses and is completely and entirely based on ancient practices, such as the I Ching, which I believe is thousands of years old,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And astrology, which also is, so it has a very, very ancient, deep roots, and it's brought into a modern understanding. So it's kind of an amalgamation of both.
Right. Amalgamation. Yeah.
Amalgamation of both.
Yeah.
Yeah, combination.
And you answered, yeah, you already answered the question about it is in relation to astrology, and kind of
Absolutely.
it's linked to, so how did they link it to astrology initially? And
So yeah, to answer that question, I would just advise everyone to look deeper into Ra and his experience, because it wasn't actually even very clear to him. It just came to him. You know, he didn't sit down and piece this and weave this together. It came to him as a download, and then he
really,
began to put it into practice. So, but when you pull up a chart, it's using those calculations and the planets, but it's putting them in different gates as well. But and it's also using the signs.
yeah.
So it's,
Mhm.
yeah, it's kind of like transposed on top of the chart, which then, you know, has the hexagrams and everything. So the lines
Mhm.
of the I Ching. So it gets, yeah.
Yeah. So Rao's website,
Mhm.
Rao's website and link, or good link, his one of his website and info. We'll leave that in the description below
Yeah.
for the viewers for sure.
Mhm.
And so, can you? This may or may not be related to human design, but
Okay.
I know back in the day, there was once a television show I watched, and I don't remember which it was specifically, but it mentioned about the history of humans' facial features,
Hmm.
and they were saying that way back to the days of the ancients, it was always known for a fact that you could actually tell someone's personality by their facial features.
Mm.
And but you know how they say never, we shouldn't judge a book by its cover. And so they were referring to people's appearance as well, like in terms of
Right.
like facial features.
Right.
But apparently the ancient, there was some, and I don't know the name of it specifically, but that's something I may have to look up, and then we could discuss it in another show as well. But I'm wondering if that has any link to human design, about the appearance of particularly
Right.
facial features
Right.
could tell about a person's personality.
Right. That's excellent. I think
Yeah.
that's excellent awareness to have. That to me falls under the same category of like palm reading. So
Yeah.
when you look at palm reading, you know, it's not only the lines in your palm, but it's the length of your fingers, it's how they're shaped, it's the shape of the palm.
Yeah.
And so there's all these different ways to basically tune into somebody's personality. You know, like you said, the shape of the face, there's like iris picture studies.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, to determine also like personality, like similar to palm. However, with human design, it doesn't extend into that.
So yeah, so it's not really something like that. It's
No.
more, so human design is kind of more spiritual matters rather than physical. Does that
Exactly.
make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
And I think it's really excellent
Okay.
that you asked that, because the word human design, like it can be misleading, the word human design, because
Yeah.
you
So
might
now,
associate it with like, oh, physical design, but actually
yeah.
it has nothing to, well, it has to do with the physical world, but doesn't have to do with appearance.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
in regards to it's mechanics is what is the technical term in human design. It's the mechanics behind what you see. It's what happens before, you know, what you see.
What you
But
see
I think that is
yeah.
valid. But
Yeah.
I definitely believe that is valid, that you can determine personality traits by facial features.
Yeah.
The same way, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I can't remember. No worry. Yeah, I can't remember if there was a specific name for that in terms of, yeah, like palm reading we know is one. So I don't know if it's something called like face reading
Right,
or
something
anything
like that,
that. But I'm sure it would be a unique name
yeah.
probably. But that's
Yeah,
something
like
I'm gonna
a
remember.
technical name. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same way, like it's the same as astrology. You know, you have certain planets in certain positions that create certain tendencies and characteristics. I feel by that same token, you know, the same thing will happen with facial features, because I don't think anything is a chance or a coincidence in this life, including the charts that we're born with. And I feel on some way, on a deeper soul level, we choose to be born at a certain time, or we're born to a certain time to have certain experiences, like when a certain planets will be in a certain way. Like that's our entry, our portal into this world. And it's to me, it doesn't make sense that our appearances would be random as well.
Yeah.
So I think it's the same thing. And then of course, as a human being, you have the will to alter your appearance as much as you want to, and that, you know, and that plays an effect as well. So
yeah, incredibly fascinating for sure about that. And it's you know, it's something like when I was younger, it's something kind of hard to believe, but it's like, you know, as you know, but in recent times I'm like, yeah, this is a possible thing for sure.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we do know in astrology, the rising sign that we are, they say that a lot of our physical appearance has to do with the rising sign.
Right.
Some say the sun sign of ours as well. Others say the moon being the closest celestial body has. But as you mentioned, so you already answered the question, right. I believe, about that. Human design does not really have much to do with personal physical appearance, more to do with but the physical world though.
Right.
About
yeah. Right. Tangible world results, but not necessarily like appearance of the self. But I would say that would be definitely first house and first house ruler in astrology charts and natal astrology.
What does tangible mean again, for like tangible world?
Tangible world is the world that you can feel around you, the world that you can interact with around you.
Okay.
So the physical result with human design would be like you start practicing your strategy and authority, and you see tangible results. Let's say there's something that you want, and you've been trying so hard, taking a certain approach to it. You learn human design, you realize you've been going about it the incorrect way, according to human design, and then you begin to apply the correct way, and all of a sudden there's a job offer that you wanted, or there's a relationship that enters your life. You know what I mean? Like that's a tangible result. You can see it, you can feel like it exists.
Yeah. Okay. And so you mentioned that, is there, I don't know this 100%, but is there any truth that they don't allow YouTubers to tell info? Like, did you mention there's no YouTube channels that tell or educate about human design?
No.
Or there are some?
Yeah, there are. From what I understand is that within the actual doing human design professionally and offering readings and offering courses, there's like Ra and they're like Jovian Archive, and I think it's called Human Design School of America. Those are the two that were like approved by Ra and like the main ones, and they were like going out from there. So it's more on a professional level, but you can find plenty of information online. Again, everything that I know about human design, I've learned from my own research. So there's plenty of information. There's John Martin is really great on YouTube. He's like one of the original guys. He was in Hawaii too. So there's plenty of information. You can find Ra's videos. A lot of the stuff you do have to pay for, but a lot of the stuff you still can find, for free. You can get books on it. You can connect with other people, and human design really does turn into a personal journey and experience. Eventually,
personal, And John Martin, is that who? Okay, so we can leave. So he's another. So Ra is one.
Ra is the main guy because he channeled it, right? It came through him, so he's the founder, and then everyone else sort of goes from him. To my understanding, John Martin is keeping pretty close with what Ra's what he initially brought into the world.
And so the reason is there something about human design that they don't? So is there a reason why they don't want access for info to be easy for people? Like they'd rather teach, because it's kind of, I'm assuming, is it kind of a one-on-one thing really?
Right. It can be one-on-one, or there can be webinars and seminars. I mean, there's two things that I can think of to answer that. The first thing is that I think that they don't want they don't want the understanding of human design they don't want it to be misunderstood or misused. So they definitely want to make sure that everyone is understanding it accurately and using it accurately.
Yeah.
You know,
That makes
so
sense.
that's
Yeah.
that is one thing. And I mean, I'm not going to argue with the fact that there's obviously a monetary aspect to it, to, you know, the way that they're promoting it and stuff. And but again, everything I've learned, and I'm a great like embodier of human design, and I'm a professor of human design. Like I profess it. I'm not the professor, but everything I've done. I haven't paid for it. All the knowledge that I have found. So
Right.
that is possible too. And I think it gets down to like, if you really want it, if you really resonated with it, you can do it. But I feel like that formality is there to just keep people away from, you know, from just frivolously using it and
Yeah.
misinterpreting it and
Misuse.
not, you know, misuse. Exactly. That's what I say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So how about, this would be a great time. How about we check out the
Let's do
website,
it.
Jovial Archive,
Mhm.
and I will get that
Jovian
up.
Archive. Yeah.
Jovian Archive.
Jovian Archive. Perfect.
Yeah.
That's how I call it anyway. I mean,
Yeah. Okay. So it is, I guess we could go to the front page right here. You could see it, Sabrina?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did. Thank you. Mhm.
So here it is here. Okay. So, and so for people who are new visiting the site, where would you recommend where they start? Like if they,
yeah. So go ahead and click on get your free chart is where I would.
okay.
Yeah. So the first thing everyone's probably going to want to do is to discover the chart. And if you want to put in your chart stuff right now, we can look at your chart right now. We can also do a separate video if you want, whatever you like.
Yeah, sure. So is it, okay, so I put in, okay. Yeah, we'll go for it. Yeah. So discover your design. So the day, so what is this my birth info?
Birthday, yeah, your birthday.
Yeah,
yep.
Yeah. 6 month. Yeah, February. So the hour.
So, and you want to do that. Remember, everyone who's
Yeah.
doing this, it's in the 24-hour clock. Okay.
Yeah. So would that be good enough for?
No, you want to put your minute too.
The minute too. Okay. So would it look like that?
No. So put your minute on where it says minute. So erase backspace 3 times.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And then minute 00.
Yeah. 00. Yeah. Perfect.
So you're born at exactly 10 p.m.?
As far as I know, it could have been anywhere between 10 and 10:02 or 10:03.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it it actually says that in my birth book too. It says exactly 10 p.m. So it could have been. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And the country it's just the country, right? It's not like
it'll ask for it. It'll ask you for the city.
Yeah. So Toronto. Okay.
If you click calculate, and it might do one more preliminary screen to make sure. Oh no.
Okay.
Did it get you? It got you right in there.
So that's it.
That's it. I always scroll down just to make sure you have the right birth info. Everything.
February 6th.
Got it. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. So here you have your chart, and then here, do you want to press got it? So we have the bigger screen on the bottom right. Just, do you want to press that?
Oh, got it. Perfect.
Yeah, just so we have more of the screen to see. Okay, perfect. And then if we scroll down a little bit. Okay, so here's your chart. So you are a generator. Okay, and so generators are the majority of the population, as I was saying. Generators are like the battery they're the life force of the earth. It's what sustains life. So, and for everyone watching this, when you see the chart here, you see the red square, square that's filled in red.
Okay,
it's the second square from the bottom.
So that
Yes,
one
exactly.
There? Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So that is known as the sacral center in human design.
Okay. Yeah.
And as soon as this center is colored in, or otherwise known as defined, you are a generator. Just so everyone is aware. Everyone is aware of that. And I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that in your chart specifically. But first, we can also talk about the chakras and how this relates to that.
Yeah.
So at the bottom, this is the root center in human design, the bottom square, right there, the brown square filled in.
Yeah.
It's the root, and it also the root chakra, and yours is defined. Okay. And then above that, we have the sacral.
Yeah.
Right, which is right there. Yeah. And then to the right this is known as the solar plexus.
Yeah, where the purple 37 is, eh?
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
the solar plexus, or the emotional center in human design, and yours is undefined.
Really?
Right, because so all the white shapes are undefined, and all the white lines are undefined channels, and all the colored in ones are defined.
All the colored in ones, yeah. So undefined. So undefined means what again?
So the defined parts in your chart are where you have consistent energy
Yeah.
output
Okay.
and input.
Consistent.
So
Okay.
these are the things that you can rely on constantly
Rely on. Okay.
to have that energetic quality. And the white ones are actually areas where you are more prone to conditioning. So the irony with human design is in those areas you might actually find that you amplify that energy even more so than someone who has it defined, just because it's just like it's like a blank slate there. So it's more easily impressionable and more easily able to receive impressions.
Right.
Right. So you have the solar plexus, and that was split into two. It's the emotional center on the right that we just looked at, and the splenic center on the left.
Yeah.
And then you have the heart. So if you look at the yellow diamond in the center, that's the G. So that's also the heart chakra.
The heart chakra. Yeah.
Yeah. And that was split into two. And so the little triangle right next to it, to the right,
yeah,
that is the ego center. It's also known as, and those are both the heart.
Mm-hmm. So it's actually near the heart. It's actually really, wow.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In human design, the ego is all about willpower. It's actually manifesting things and bringing things, I will is kind of the motto for that center.
Right. Yeah.
And then you have the throat, which is the square above. Yeah. Right there.
That's the one there. I was going to ask. Yeah. That's the throat chakra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and this is the manifesting, center in human design. This is the manifesting center. So when you have the throat connected to a motor, and the motor are like the energy centers, the main energy centers of the chart, like the sacral and the emotional and the ego, that makes you a manifester. So there's another subcategory known as a manifesting generator. It's still a generator, but they also have those manifesting qualities as well. So that would be connected to the throat. And then you have the ajna above that.
So is that the third eye?
That's exactly.
The third
exactly.
eye. Yeah.
The third eye. So that deals all with like, your intuition, your mind, your thoughts, things like that. And then at the very top, you have the crown.
The crown.
And the crown is just kind of like downloads, essentially. It's like, yeah. So loosely, you can look at them based on just how your understanding of the chakras.
Yeah. That's amazing. So thanks so much for going through that, Sabrina.
Yeah.
And so would you say this is a perfect place to be for beginners who are just learning? Like particularly this page and that?
Yeah. So I know that when you look at this chart, it can be very confusing if you don't understand things yet. And, like I said, you can take it as far as you want to, but two things that you want to know, you specifically, and anyone watching this video, so you look at your right and you see chart properties. So type generator. Everyone who's looking at this, you want to take notice of these things. Type generator. So as soon as you find out what your type is, and it's going to be one of four things. Technically, I'll mention the fifth one. So you're either going to be a generator, a manifester, a projector, or a reflector. And within the generator group, you could also be a manifesting generator, but you can still apply, just look at it as generator. And so what you could do, for example, the first step that I would take, and the first step that I did take, because I'm a manifester. So first thing I did, I go on YouTube and you look up, generator human design, manifestor human design, and you start getting into it. You start learning at it. Different people and things will resonate with you. That's where I would begin. And I have all different kinds of websites and stuff. Anyone, I really want to invite everyone to just contact me personally. I'll leave my email in this video because I'm happy always to help. So as a generator, automatically your strategy is to respond, which is what I was referring to earlier. So the generator aura is a really big aura. It expands like twice the length of your arms, like outspread. To my understanding, it's a very big aura, and it's basically designed to draw things in.
Mm-hmm.
That is how your aura is designed. Okay. And so your strategy becomes to respond to your environment. And you have the inner authority of the sacral. So basically with that, it basically turns into your response to things. Either it could be like an or an or You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when people say follow your gut, or what does your gut say, or like listen to your gut, for someone like you specifically, that is completely accurate.
Yeah.
So human
Mhm.
design, considering this, if we are 100% sure this is your birth time, you know, and we're comfortable with this and this is resonating with you, human design would encourage you to always tune into your gut to when making any decision like this. When we get deep down the line, this is why it takes so many years to decondition, because you might say, how could I listen to my gut? You're
Yeah.
talking about making big decisions, talking about like, you know, financial and career and like big decisions. Human design says your particular answer, if you want to meet with less resistance in this world, if you don't want to be frustrated, if you want to be satisfied, then you will listen to your gut. Because every type has a self and a not self theme. So when you are being authentic with yourself, when you are listening to your gut, you're going to be satisfied with life.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're feeling frustrated, whatever it is, because the sacral energy is so high and so intense that if it's not getting its authentic expression, it's going to begin to become frustrated. And so with human design, that's like a compass telling you like, hey, like you're not listening to your gut, or there's somewhere here where you're not behaving authentically to yourself. So come back into your body, you know, allow yourself to respond to your environment through your gut and see where that takes you. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
Yeah.
try it out for yourself.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And thanks so much, Sabrina. And one last curious question too. The time of day is paramountly important for us to know. And
Yeah.
so how often does our type change, like from
Yes.
like
I hear your question.
every few minutes,
Right.
or what's it like?
So it's a little bit different than looking at a natal chart, where, you know, in a natal chart, every 2.5 hours, right, from a Western chart anyway, it spins to another constellation. The human design chart is sort of sporadic. Like it could change one day. You could have the whole day could be one type, or the whole day could change like 4 different times. It could change in a minute. It could change in an hour. It could change in a few hours. So what I would advise for anyone who's not sure of their birth time, but you probably need someone who understands to help you with this, you can type in various birth times. Like if I were you, I would type in 10:01, 10:02, 10:03, just in case, to make sure. Chances are,
Perfect.
chances are it'll probably be the same, but you just want to make sure,
Right. Yeah.
you know, and then see which one resonates more with you.
Right. Yeah. Well, Sabrina, I can't thank you enough for joining us today and telling
Oh
us a
yeah.
huge insight on human design. And we'll do
Yeah.
more videos of it in the future for sure.
Great.
There's
Yeah.
definitely plenty to explore about it as well. And
Yeah.
it's very interesting, especially interesting to me now, since there's a link to astrology, which is,
Oh yeah.
that makes it far
Absolutely.
more
Huge one.
fascinating for me
Yeah.
when I learned about it. So thanks so much. And by the way, everyone, we want to, Sabrina and I, we want to wish every mother of the world a very happy Mother's Day weekend this weekend. And
We
to all
sure
the
do.
mothers out there, and have a very happy and safe and joyous weekend on this great weekend for the mothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks again for everyone for
Yeah.
watching. All the
I'm
best,
gonna
and
say
God bless. Thanks again, Sabrina.
thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Have a great
All
weekend.
right.
See you next
Okay.
time.
Aloha.
Yeah. Aloha.